What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's recently been brought to my attention that Red Dead Redemption 2 is seeing a lot of love right now, either from players who basically picked it up during the Christmas break and are playing it for the first time in 2024, or returning players like myself who are returning back to this game and playing it again for the umpteenth time. I'm going to be bringing a bunch of guide videos to the channel looking at specific things which are maybe a little bit off the beaten track in the game, or a little bit difficult items to find, and just generally things that will make your character and your playthrough a lot more enjoyable, a lot stronger, and that sort of thing. Now in today's video we're looking at something exactly like this, an activity that you can do at the very beginning of chapter 2 as soon as you arrive near Valentine, and this not only nets you a crisp $100 but also one of the best revolvers in the game. When you're ready, let's go. So we're going to do this kind of like a little bit like a walkthrough. I'm going to have the footage playing in the background and I'm going to guide you through and explain exactly what's happening. At the very beginning of the game, when you get to chapter 2, you start near a town called Valentine, and this is in Valentine behind the doctor's office in Valentine. So basically what you're going to try and do here is you're going to perform a heist on a backroom business activity. There are 4 of these in the game. This is the first one that you'll encounter. And essentially what these usually allow you to do is get a weapon that generally you wouldn't have access to yet, as well as some money. In the case here, we're going to be getting $100, and we're also going to be getting the Schofield revolver, which is the strongest revolver that you can get at this point in the game. And we're going to be getting it free, so we're also going to be saving like $90, which we should be paying for that Schofield. And one other thing that's important to notice here is that we're going to try and do this by getting the least amount of bounty on our heads, which means that we get to keep as much of that money as we get at the start. We are going to have a small bounty though, and we're also going to do this without any, loss to the honor system, the morality system in the game, which you can at this point in time, basically kill some civilians and things like that, and that can make that suffer. But first things first, at the back of this doctor's office, you're going to park your escape vehicle quite close there. My horse is standing right there, and this is going to be quite important because when you want to hightail it out here without having to fight any of the fucking law, this is super important. So we're going to go over here. Now this window is where you come to at the beginning to see the backroom business. So you'll see the prompt is not there right now, but essentially you'll come there, you'll look through the little hole in the window there, and that'll show you that there's some illicit activity happening at the back there, and you need to do that before you can now kick this off. Now we're going to go to the front of the doctor's office, and we're going to go in the door, and we're just going to close the door like we're just doing business as usual. So we're going to close the door, and then at this point in time we can start the heist. Now this is time sensitive, so work fast here. Slip the mask on your face, pull your revolver on this vendor, and essentially ask him to open up the back business for you. At this point in time, none of the people outside should see you or interact with you in any way, but rather be sure to do this fast and assertive. And at this point, this guy is going to open up this door for you, which is going to give you access to all the bad people inside. Now, at this point in time, you might be tempted to kill this guy, but when you kill him, you will suffer some morality loss. If that is not something that bothers you, you can absolutely pull out a knife and knife this dude, and you'll be perfectly fine. I chose to leave him alive here. He's not necessarily going to run off and, say anything about the crime or anything like that. But as you come into this room here, I just want to point out that you have 4 hostiles here. You have the guy sitting at the table, you have the guy and the lady on the couch over there, and you have one more dude sleeping in the back there. Now all 4 of these people need to die. Unfortunately, you can't leave the girl alive because she does also go for a pistol to kill you, so ain't nobody got time for that. The main things that you're looking for in here, there's quite a little bit of loot in here, but because the situation is time sensitive and because we are going to try and do it without getting the entire town's law on our heads and having to shoot our way out, there are some specific things you should be aiming for given the time that you have. Firstly, the money on the table here is what you want, definitely. Then the Schofield revolver, which we're looking for, is in the box in the back there. And then there's one other thing that you can also do here. If you have a stick of dynamite on you, which you should have if you played the prologue, and we're also going to rob the safe inside this room. So playing it out, we're going to put some bullets in this man here. We're going to kill his accomplice there with the lady by some terrible shots. We're going to kill the guy in the back. And then, as I said, unfortunately, she's got to go. Okay. So at this point in time, you basically need to be hurrying up, and I'm obviously just wasting some time here, but you need to be hurrying up and blowing up the safe as soon as possible, because this is what's going to essentially start the clock and have things come at you a lot quicker. So take your dynamite out, stick it on there, ignite it, get out of the blast radius. You can just dip around the corner here. It's going to blow up. And now at this point in time, you grab your money on the table there, which is 50 bucks right there. Then we're going to go ahead and skirt around and we're going to get the Schofield out of the box. Now, all the while, you should be keeping an eye on the radar because it's possible that a cop might be coming in sooner than later. But if you're playing it out exactly the same way that I'm doing and you're wasting, no time like I am wasting, you should be perfectly fine. You're going to grab the other 50 bucks out of the safe that you just blew open. And then at this point in time, you'll see the first cop come in. Now, if you play this right, you can literally just dip out behind him. You guys didn't exchange any gunfire, anything. And at this point in time, I want to point something out as well. Coming to the front of the shop here, you'll notice some lawmen on the upper side of the street upstairs there. And usually these guys are the ones who identify you. But in actuality, it's more like the game is in a way set up in such a way that you always get identified no matter what. There's some kind of weird tripping mechanism inside the shop that as soon as you go past the till, it doesn't matter if you, kind of like just sort of like stealthed your way through it or something like that, you will get identified. The only way that you can do this and not get identified and essentially slip in and out like a ninja is if you have throwing knives, which you will have to go find. Usually you get those much later in the game, and you basically just stealth your way in here, knife, and essentially just make no noise and then just walk out like a ghost. But we don't have that. We just started chapter 2, so that's why we're doing it this way. Now remember, our horse is at the back there, so we're gonna nip around the side here. We're gonna jump over here. We're gonna jump down here. Don't do like I did and jump over a gate that's already open. Jump on your horse and race away to your getaway. Now that's it. You'll notice that the bounty that we've accumulated is $1.50, which the fact that we have $200 basically of value that we essentially have accumulated here, that's less than 1% of loss, attrition that we suffer for this. And in my mind, that's almost like a perfect heist. You'll notice the little red circle that you need to get out of because lawmen are going to be looking for you. We haven't exchanged any gunfire with any lawmen. We also haven't killed anybody, which is why our bounty is so low. At the moment right now, it's literally only a robbery. And so that's perfectly fine. You don't have to go as fucking hectic as I did and basically ride all the way to, Texas to try and get away from this. But just get outside the red circle, a red ring, and then you just wait for the wanted sign to essentially clear. And once that's done, that's also done with the heist. That's also done with the video. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. I'm trying something a little bit new with these kind of guides where I essentially do a walkthrough. I inject a little bit of story and a little bit of, talky bits into it. But essentially, hopefully it still provides you with enough information to make it worth the watch and to actually net you something good in the game. Absolutely, in the comments, let me know what you would like to see from these Red Dead Redemption 2 guides, which things you'd like me to cover, which, guides you'd like to see. I've got a bunch of them planned already, but absolutely would appreciate any suggestion from your side. But as always, it's just super important to me that you have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Until next video, fucking cheers.